Welcome to the Women's Motorsports Network podcast, the show that puts the spotlight on the incredible women who fuel the world of motorsports. From drivers to crew members, engineers to fans, and everyone in between, we're here to celebrate the trailblazers, dreamers, and doers shaping the sport we love. Each episode, we share inspiring stories of females of all ages from every corner of the motorsports universe, past, present, and future. It's a journey through the seasons of life filled with heartfelt moments, laughter, and a whole lot of horsepower. So, whether you're a lifelong fan, a racer yourself, or simply curious about the extraordinary women behind the wheel, settle in, relax, and enjoy a fun and uplifting ride with us. This is the Women's Motorsports Network podcast, connecting and celebrating women in motorsports, one story at a time. Let's hit the track. Hello, everyone. This is Melinda Russell with the Women's Motorsports Network podcast. And my guest today is Ava. And Ava's going to tell us a little bit about herself so that we can get to know her better. So, Ava, first, I want to welcome you to the show. And let's start, as I always do, by having you tell us about yourself.
So my name's Ava Weil. I'm currently a senior at LaVille Junior Senior High School. I'm from Plymouth, Indiana. I have two older brothers, um, my mom and my dad, and then I've grown up on racing on both my mom and my dad's side family. I play basketball, and I plan on going to college after I graduate. Just don't know where yet.
Okay. Do you have something in mind that you want to do?
I want to go into motorsports management.
Okay. All right. That's a good field. And you have a lot of motorsports knowledge. So that's a good way to start. Yeah,
Yes.
for sure. Do you have any pets?
I have two cats. I have a dog and I have a goat.
Oh, a goat. I haven't had anybody that I can remember had a goat. Now, I have had some unusual pets. I had one girl that raises chickens and that. So, I love that. You obviously like animals. That's cool.
I do.
Yeah, very cool. So, Ava, you're going to be 18 years old here in a few weeks, couple of weeks. Can you tell me how did you get started in motorsports and how old were you?
So I grew up, my brothers grew up racing quarter midgets. So I've always grown up at Little Kalamazoo at the quarter midget track. I've always been interested in racing. And so when I was 4, I was actually able to get in one of my brother's quarter midgets after a race. And I really loved it. Um, So I ended up racing quarter midgets for about 2 years. I ran at Little Kalamazoo, and then I also ran the Little Hoosier 100 when it was in Lakeville at Newton Park.
Hmm.
I've practiced a couple times at Kokomo. I never really did like Kokomo, so I never ran there. Um,
Why didn't you like
Eventually,
Kokomo?
I don't know. I just didn't like a lot of the people that were down there. There
Okay,
was too many people for me.
too many people.
And
Okay,
at a
I
young age,
understand
I
that.
just wasn't ready.
Okay, just wondered.
So we ended up getting out of quarter midgets. I ran for about 2 years, and then I had school and sports. So traveling up to Michigan every weekend and being home for all of those things, it just didn't really play out. So we took some time off. We ended up getting out of racing quarter midgets. And then when I was 13, I started going with my uncle and my cousin, who at the time had a street stock. So I'd always travel the tracks with them. I always worked in the shop on late nights with them, learned a lot, and then he got a modified. So then I was always traveling with both the cars. Um, Went to Nashville a few times and learned a lot of things down there. And then when I was 14, we bought me a front wheel drive car. And it really wasn't the best time because I was at the time a three sport athlete. So we never had time to really work on the car or go to the track. So it always just sat. And then last year, I got invited down to a dirt track in Argus that at the time I didn't know was there. And they ran goat karts. So one of my friends was like, come down, watch me. So I went down, and after the race, they were like, hey, like, why don't you just jump in and try it out for us? So I went ahead, took it for a spin, it was very different. I've never ran dirt before, so it was definitely a different feel. And after that, they were like, hey, we got a race next week. Why don't you come down? We have a spare. I was like, okay. So I went down there and I tried it out and I really liked it. I just didn't know if it was for me yet because it was dirt. And so they're like, we got another one. Why don't you come down and just keep running for us? So I ran for about 3 or 4 races, and then we actually went and bought me one down in Terre Haute. So me and my mom made the trip down there. We loaded it up in her car and drove home with it. And then about 2 weeks later, I took it out and I actually finished second, I think, out of like 18.
Wow.
And that's when I knew I think it was for me. So we finished up the year. It's definitely a learning experience. And then I'm actually running this year down there with a go-kart, and I'm doing really well. I was able to get sponsors on board this year, so it makes a difference. I
Sure.
have JCL Property Maintenance, Griswold Exterior Illuminations, Operation Lend a Hand, and then there's a couple other sponsors who like to stay a little secretive that have also helped me out a lot with buying a new fire suit and tires and that, and pit
Yeah.
passes for the weekend. So
That's
yeah,
always nice, whether they want to be mentioned or not. The fact that they want to support you doing something that you haven't really done before, and
yes.
you kind of went on a journey, and then you kind of started over in a way. You went from asphalt to dirt.
Hmm.
So which do you like the best now?
Probably asphalt. It's a lot
Yeah.
more cleaner and it's less
Yeah.
work on the weekends.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
So we have a few more races left. And then we are in the talk that we're going to run the Rumble when it comes in December. We're going to try to go over there and run, whether it's 1 day or 2 days.
Yeah.
But I've done pretty good this season. I've won about 3 races.
Wow. In your second year.
Yes.
Yeah. That's pretty good. So do they do points there? Are you running for points?
They were going to try and do points this year. We just didn't have a lot of track staff at the time, so it
Okay.
really wasn't a good time to do it.
All right. Tell me about the track. What is it called again?
It's called Mocarts of Marshall County, and it's located in Argus, Indiana at the fairgrounds.
And where is Argus, Indiana? I've never heard of that.
It's about, I want to say
From Plymouth,
10
where is it?
minutes, like 10 minutes from Plymouth's Motor Speedway.
Really? So it's not far at all.
No,
Wow. I've never heard of it either. And tell me again, it's at the fairgrounds. What did you call it? The what?
Mocarts of Marshall County.
Mocarts of Marshall County. Okay. I'm going to check that out.
And they have different classes. We have mini wedges that run down there. We have carts, and then we also have, oh, what are the other ones called? Cage carts as well.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Huh.
And then we've also had the Michigan sprints come down a couple for one
Okay.
weekend that they came down and they ran with us.
Okay. That's fun.
Yes.
That's very cool. I mean, I thought I knew all the racetracks within a few hundred miles, and I've not heard of them, but it must be a smaller track that,
It's a small track, but we get a lot of new people in on the weekends
yeah,
when
I'll
other
bet.
tracks aren't running.
Yeah, I'll bet so. Oh, that's very cool. So Ava, what do you love the most about being at the track on the weekend? Like, you're a senior in high school. You could be swimming with your friends in the summer. You could be going to Lake Michigan. You could be doing all kinds of fun things, but instead you choose to go to the racetrack on the weekend. Why is that?
I just love the atmosphere and the people. They're all very supportive down there, especially being a girl down there. There's not many girls who run down there, so I normally am always down there with guys, and either it's other people who are racing or it's the track officials who are always just so supporting and welcoming.
That's nice. That's nice to hear.
Yes.
Because I remember your name from when you raced quarter midgets at Little Kalamazoo, because um, you're probably, let's see, Maddie and McKenna Snyder are my granddaughters,
Hmm.
And they would have been racing there, and you were a little tiny girl when you were racing there, weren't you?
Yes.
Yeah, I remember that about you. And it's like I turn around and you're a grown up young lady, and it's like, well, I guess my granddaughters have grown up quite a bit too, but it just doesn't seem the same. So yeah, is it give me a little bit more about why you love it, because I don't think people that are not involved in motorsports, I don't think they understand. How would you explain your love for motorsports to somebody?
I just think like the dedication, like I'd rather go to the racetrack every weekend than hang out with my friends, or I'd rather stay home and work in the shop working on my car or my big car with my family than going down there. I just think that to me, I don't know, I just think it's more important to me in that because I want to stay home, I think that's where racing is more to me and it means more to me than going and hanging out and doing something that I could do a couple years later.
Yeah, yeah. So do you go to school, or are you homeschooled?
I go to school.
Okay. So you go to school. It's probably not a very big school, I'm
No.
guessing. Okay. So what are your friends? You've got to have a lot of friends, as outgoing as you are. But what are your friends? What do they think about it? Do they understand about you going racing? So many times I have girls say to me the same thing that you say. I just love going to the track. I love this, but the kids at school don't understand. But how do
My
your friends react?
my friends are very supportive. They're
Good.
always asking me if they don't come down to the track, they're always asking me like, "Hey, how'd you do? How'd your heat race do? How'd you do tonight?" And they're very supportive. They are always there for me. If I have a rough day at the track and I need someone to talk to, they're always like the first one to let me
Okay,
just talk to
good.
them about it.
That's good to hear, because it kind of makes me sad when I hear a girl say, "Well, I really didn't fit in. I didn't really have that many friends at school." And it kind of makes me sad to think that, but yet, they don't necessarily seem, I think I feel more sad than they do. Because I just think, oh, they're missing out on those friendships, and yet they're making such wonderful friends at the racetrack.
Yeah. My
Yeah,
friends are find it very cool that I have a passion for racing, especially when not many females want to do it and it's really a male dominant sport.
yeah, yeah, exactly. So, what's been your proudest moment or moments that you've had during your racing so far?
Um my proudest moment probably was my first win of this season. We had went down for one race and we had just redid my motor and I had the worst race of my life. We couldn't find no power in my motor and then like it just was the rough race and then the next week we went back and raced and we fixed up my motor and all of a sudden like everything from that past weekend it just went away and I could focus on that week and that was the week that I got my first win of the season. So it was like really important to me and then that win then kept momentum into the following weekend when I had a double race on Saturday and Sunday and I won both of those too. So it
Wow.
just really carried over.
Yeah, I guess so. That was a memorable time for sure. Yeah, absolutely. So, if you had a mom or a young girl or even a young boy come up and talk to you at the races and just say, my daughter's interested in driving a quarter midget or a cart or whatever it might be, what advice would you give them?
Um, I would tell them to follow their dreams and like if they really want to race, I'd push for them to do it. And especially if it was girl, I'd really push for them to do it because there's not many girls who do it anymore and
Yeah,
it's kind of sad because I think
yeah,
that a lot of people doubt girls for racing and then sometimes the girls always tend to like be the outcome and actually beat the guys. So
hmm,
I've had a situation where that has happened this year where I actually had two girls come up to me and their dad sponsors me and I actually let them go out in my car after one of my races and they both enjoyed it and loved it.
Yeah. That's how Maddie and McKenna got started. They went to a try and ride at Kalamazoo, and they came home with quarter midgets. I mean, it was just crazy. I mean, racing was in our family, but not in necessarily. It wasn't their dad that raced; it was my son.
Mhm.
But it's funny how you just give them that little bit of time in the car, and they're like, "Oh yeah, this is what I want to do." Yeah. So there's not very many girls at all, or any girls that race against you
No,
now.
there is one girl who is came down, and she's only like she comes every once in a while. And then there's one girl who's I think she's probably like 7 or 8, and she's running in the kids cart class, and those are the only two girls that are
Okay.
down there besides me.
Okay. Yeah, we got to get more. Maybe they don't know about it. That's the thing,
Yeah,
you
our
know.
track is very small,
Yeah.
so
So maybe we got to get the word out about the track more so than, because I find that there's more and more girls racing in all kinds of series, but they have to know where and how, and maybe they don't live close. There could be a lot of reasons why they don't come to that particular track, but yeah, you need a couple more girls down there to have,
yeah.
the girls club or whatever. So, what does a typical race weekend look like for you? When do you race on Saturday? And then how do you get up, you eat, you don't eat, you eat at the track? What's your favorite track food? Tell me about race day.
So we race on Sundays. So
Okay.
typically I get up at probably about 8. We always have family breakfast here every Sunday. My mom cooks on the Blackstone. And after we eat, there's always a couple few things that we have to load in the trailer in the morning because we normally load our trailer Saturday night. So we load our trailer and we normally leave our house around like 9:15. We get to the track around like 9:45, 10. We unload. Normally, I like to walk the track a couple of times just to get a feel for it because they always water it down multiple times in the morning. And then um, after we're done unloading the trailer and setting up, I always get straight to work on my car, whether it's making sure the tires are right, I got enough stagger, making sure that there's gas in it, and then I typically go and draw, and then come back and just finish up like a few little things, just nitpick and just make sure everything's perfect for the race. And
Hmm.
then we have our driver's meeting, and then we get right to it. We normally get one practice. We have a 8 lap heat race and then a 20 lap feature.
Okay. So you race twice every time you go.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Um, yeah, that's fun. And racing during the day is kind of cool. It doesn't take away from going somewhere else on Saturday night, or if
Yeah.
you wanted to race somewhere else on Friday or Saturday night. So that's good. I kind of like that for sure. Do you have any superstitions when you race? Like, do you always wear the same socks or the same shirt, or one girl always braids her hair? What do you do? Anything at all?
Normally when I'm sitting up and staging and about ready to go out, I always put my feet on top of my cart and just like relax. And I always make sure my hand is on my helmet. It's like my biggest superstition ever.
Okay. All right. A lot of girls have, things that they do every time for sure. Um, would you rather start do you prefer to start at the front, like on the pole or the front row, or do you like coming up from the back?
I like coming up from the back. I feel like if I'm on the pole and I'm out in the lead early, I just stress too much about it. And having somebody in front of me motivates me to catch them every single time. So I prefer starting in the back, but I never do have that luck to start in the back. I always have to
Yeah.
start on the pole.
Yeah. Yeah. I thought you probably started on the pole. That's why I asked you that. Um, so what was the hardest thing for you to learn? Like when you switched from pavement to dirt, what was the most difficult thing? Or what was it a pretty easy transition?
Probably the most difficult thing was timing in the corners because I went out there and I thought, oh, you can just do the same thing you do on asphalt racing. Just wait till you get to the corner. And no, you can't wait till you get to the corner because
Mm-mm.
you just either spin out or you slide off the track.
Yeah. Yeah. And have you kind of overcome that? You figured that out now?
Yes, I figured out my timing now, and I figured out my line every single time I'm out there.
Yeah. Would you ever go to other tracks and race that cart?
Um, I would love to go to other tracks. There was actually a track in Warsaw we were going to try and go to this year, but they ended up getting shut down.
Okay.
So it's a little harder to find a track
Yeah.
because with having this Argus one, it's really close versus I think the
Yeah.
nearest track to me is probably 2 hours.
Yeah. Probably so. They run carts. Have you ever heard? Oh, it just escaped me. It's in Iowa, and it's a little tiny track out in the middle of nowhere. It's near Knoxville, Iowa, and I just lost the name of it for some reason. Hopefully, I'll remember. But they run all kinds of carts there, and they have like the national championship and stuff
Hmm.
there. There's hundreds of kids there racing. Not just kids, there's adults there too, but mostly kids. Like kids like Brexton Bush and Kelly Earnhardt's son Wyatt and lots of kids of famous people and just really good racers, and it's so fun to watch to watch that. I think, if you ever want to go somewhere really fun and make a trip out of it, I'll think of the name of it, but English Creek is what it's called. English Creek in Iowa. So um, that'd be one to put on your bucket list for sure. So have you ever had something odd or kind of funny happen at the track? Like, you got out there and you forgot to put gas in or something, anything like that ever happened?
I haven't had anything too crazy or embarrassing happen to me. I have had my chain pop off a couple of times.
Okay.
Like the first time I went out last year in these people's cart, the first race, went around the first lap and the chain popped off and I couldn't figure out what was going on because I was just stuck. And I really didn't know what I was doing at the time. And then the
Yeah.
guy walked over and he was like, "You can't go anywhere, your chain's off." And I was like, "I don't know."
Yeah, exactly. Things that you learn by accident, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it sounds like you work on the cart with your dad. So what are some of the things that you've learned or things that you're able to really help with? Because I think it's important that you try to work on your cart as much as you can. So do you have certain jobs or
I normally do the tires a lot, whether it's mounting new tires every weekend or coming up with new stagger or tire pressures to run. RPM is our biggest thing. Me and my dad tackle that one together because it takes two brains to figure it out because we're only allowed to run 5,500 RPM on our carts, and it's a lot of hard work to try and figure out when your cart's cold how that RPM can affect because that was something we struggled with this season was my RPM. We didn't realize that when we set my RPM the night before that it would affect us the next day when I ran through tech and ended up getting disqualified that race, but it was definitely a learning experience for both
yeah,
me and my dad because we never knew it.
right. And your dad's learning too.
Hmm.
Yeah, because this is all different for him. So everybody has bad days at the racetrack. You just said you got there and you got disqualified. That wouldn't have been a good day. So how do you stay motivated? Do you kind of just shrug it off? Do some people, some girls throw their helmet or go to the holler and cry. What do you do when things are going wrong?
We just came off of a rough weekend this past weekend when we ran. So normally when I have a bad run, I pull in and I take my helmet off and everything and I go to the trailer and I just decompress myself and then when I'm done and I feel like I'm able to like actually talk to everybody, we kind of figure out what's going on, and then when we resolve our problem, we actually figure out what's happening. We're able to run like open practice after the races, so we're able to go out and practice on our own. So normally I'll go out and do that, and I'll run until I'm out of gas to get my anger out.
Yeah. Yeah, that's good. At least you're not throwing things, right?
Yeah.
For sure. So, Ava, how do you use social media? If somebody wanted to follow you and keep track of where you're going and what you're doing, what platforms do you use, and are you the one that does it? Does your mom do it? How does that work?
Right now we have Facebook. If you look up Weil Racing on Facebook, we're on there. Normally, both me and my mom run it, so I'll post, or if I need my mom to help me, and I'll have her post. Like it's just either one.
Okay. And are you the only one in your family racing right now?
Yes.
Okay, because did your dad and mom used to race? Because you said they were
um,
involved in racing.
my dad ran the Goodies Dash series, and then on my mom's side of the family, her brothers do drag racing.
Okay. All right. All kinds of racing in the family.
Yes.
Yeah. And yeah, and your brothers don't race.
No, they just grew up racing quarter midgets, and then when we got out of it, they were done.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Um, so do you think social media helps? Like you got those sponsors this year. Did it help you find them or they found you, or how do you think social media helps or maybe hurts a race
Um,
driver?
I think it really helps. Our social media actually ended up getting us a lot of our sponsors, and then from them, they posted it, and then it got us of a lot of followers and a lot of new people down to the track. We also advertised for our track a lot, so we brought in a lot of new faces down there as well.
Yeah, that's good. That's the nice thing about, social media is that for that track especially when, I've been involved in motorsports a long time. Today's the first time I've heard of it. So, you're getting the word out by racing there and that just always draws interest, especially, if you're racing on a Sunday and it's a beautiful day, people want something to do and they're into racing. It's like, well, let's drive down there and check that out and find a good restaurant to eat at and do all those things. They kind of make a day out of it.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's good that you're able to share that for sure. Is there anything that we haven't talked about you or your story that you'd like to share?
No, I don't really think so. I think we
Y-
covered a lot of it.
We did cover a lot of it for sure. Do you listen to music before you go out on the track? How do you get yourself hyped up to race?
Normally we're always like the last feature of the night because we have a lot of classes that run down there as well. And so normally I'll get all my stuff done so then I can watch all the features before me. And normally the mini wedge kids always get me hyped up because they're so funny to watch out there because they always are beating and banging up on each other and they
Uh-huh.
just put on a good show.
Yeah. Do any kids from like Kalamazoo area race mini wedges down there?
Mm-mm.
Mm-mm.
We've had a lot of when Plymouth isn't running their mini wedges at the big track, and normally a lot of them like to come down and run on
Yeah.
dirt.
Because Kenny Head from Kalamazoo
Hmm.
runs the mini wedge program kind of in the Kalamazoo area. And I know they go to Berlin some, but I didn't know if I mean, that'd be a little bit of a trek for, a couple hours for a lot of those people. But I just wondered if any of those, if they lived like south of Kalamazoo, that might not be all that far or whatever to go. Yeah. So I'm just going to ask you some just for fun questions. Are you up for that?
Yeah.
What's your favorite track snack?
Ooh, probably mozzarella sticks.
Okay. Who's your favorite race car driver?
Carson Hocevar.
Oh yeah, me too. I was a Kyle Busch fan, and I still am a Kyle Busch fan. Don't get me wrong. And I like most of the NASCAR drivers, but how can you not be for Carson, right? Yeah,
Yes.
I mean that would be we would have to string you up by your thumbs if you weren't a Carson Hocevar fan after him racing and his knowing Amy and everything. So that's all. That's cool. Um, what's the last thing you Googled to look up?
Last thing I Googled probably was something for school.
Yeah, probably so,
Yeah.
for sure. If you could drive one car for the rest of your life, of all the things you've driven, what's been your favorite of all of them?
Hmm.
That's probably harder.
Probably my grandpa's truck. He has a really old, nice truck, and it's probably my favorite, but he doesn't ever let me drive it
No,
unless
it's too
I'm with
special
him.
for him.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Well, maybe someday when you're a
Yeah.
little bit older, he'll let you drive it. Yeah. So, Ava, I don't have any other questions for you unless there, I mean, I have a lot of questions I could ask you, but I think we've covered a lot of things. Is there any last words that you might have?
I just hope that a lot more girls get into motorsports so we can kick these boys' butts.
Yeah, good for you. Well, I hope you have a good rest of the season. I'll be following you for sure. And if you come up the Kalamazoo way, let me know, and I'll try to find you and reach out to you at the track. Kalamazoo is going to be done here soon, but you know, maybe next year or sometime if you come this way.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks for being on the show, Ava. I really
Thank you
appreciate
so
it.
much for having me.
Yeah, you're welcome. Hold on just one second. That's it for this episode of the Women's Motorsports Network podcast. We hope you've been inspired by the stories I shared today and feel more connected to the amazing community of women in motorsports. Remember, whether you're behind the wheel, in the pits, or cheering from the stands, your story matters. And together, we're driving change and celebrating every milestone. If you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to subscribe, leave us a review, and share it with someone who loves motorsports as much as you do. And don't forget to follow us on Facebook and Instagram for updates, behind the scenes content, and more incredible stories. So until next time, stay inspired, stay connected, and keep racing through life. This is the Women's Motorsports Network podcast, where every woman's story is worth celebrating.